Okay, quick walk around. There's the setting sun. So I'll just have to take you down for a quick walk around down to this burned out area. Hopefully the SD card won't run out. I've got a couple I've already put in the car ready for coming weeks, but yeah, you can see the sun's still pretty bright, and this is what, 4:45 in the evening sort of thing. So and the light's much sort of brighter for longer in Western Australia, apart from the drizzly, rainy, sort of semi-overcast, drizzly, rainy days. But here you can see it's all been, I don't know if you can see that with the sun to the side there, but here it's all been burnt out. This is probably stuff that you want to actually see, because you don't get to see this. And of course, even when you come at the right time of the year, you probably don't get to see a bushfire at your feet sort of thing. But you can see the way the vegetation been burnt out. Now you can see the charcoal there. Can you see all that charcoal there? You can definitely see there's charcoal here and there. Now you wait to next season. Even by the first season after this has been burnt out, you'll find that quite a lot of this charcoal seems to disappear, especially where it's on the ground and it stays damp. So there's a good puzzle there. There's obviously something consuming it. I don't think it's an animal. It's probably more likely to be some sort of microbial, maybe a symbiotic relationship going on between the carbon in the charcoal. Now most textbooks would tell you you can't directly attack carbon. Well, I reckon Mother Nature is telling us that maybe we need to have to rewrite the book soon, because I've already discovered, like with Generica australis, it can attack things like rubber bands and paraffin wax, which is just basically carbon and hydrogen in chains and things like that. So I think soon there'll be an amazing discovery that we can actually attack pure carbon, or a microorganism can actually be found to actually attack pure carbon. Well, here's some little white flowers of Drossopraefolia here. As you can see, they should actually be in full rosette by next week, this coming week. You know, the third week of May. They're usually quite resplendent, but you can see they're still working on flowers. Now they should have almost finished the flowers and have a whole complete rosette and be resplendent with lovely leaves, and they look fantastic for a couple of weeks before the major rains come and wash all the dew off. So that's why it's good to get out around about the third week of May. And this area was all cut down a few years ago to make way for this fire access to the pylon, and that was very disappointing because some of the largest plants I'd ever seen were in this area. Now we've had a bit of a bushfire. There are bits and pieces of marijuana growing here, so maybe they had some sort of setup that set fire to it, I don't know, or they were smoking a cigarette when they came down to check it or something like that, I don't know. But you can see it'll be good to do a good test case over the next couple of years to keep coming back here and seeing how it changes through the season and then between seasons. So especially to look at the charcoal, see whether the charcoal actually disappears. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of charcoal here now after the initial burn. You can see quite a lot there, but will it be there next season and then the season after? Will we actually see some significant, in quotes, decay? Or oh, look what we've got here. I think this is a young Planchonii, looks like. Yeah, coming up. That's pretty good. And so there you go. Have to look out for any more around here. I don't even see that because I've got it on wide angle. I wasn't expecting to be doing any close-ups. But yeah, so there's one there coming up. Quite a few orchids up there. If you probably notice, if you're into orchids, you probably realise that some of these grassy things are sort of the early stages of an orchid and things like that. Where are they? They've gone over there. They're over here somewhere. And there's, you know, these are little young xanthoreas and things like that. But there's a few orchid things around here. Here's one. You can see that will put up a flower spike later on in the season. Be quite showy. There's a few of them around. A couple over there. So it'll be quite interesting to see this general area over the coming season. I'll keep coming back, and then I'll come back next year. And so if I'm still here, of course, I don't know the way things are going at the moment. But it looks like my old friend, my old school network have suddenly twigged or split the switch or something, and things are going to hopefully start to look up from now on. But because as far as we know now, the most wonderful plant in the world, Drosera glandulifera, or probably Neurodrosera glandulifera, is Australian. Finally, after what, nearly 40 years of trying to get the message out of Australia, they've discovered it does. Not only is it a lot faster than the Venus flytrap, it can actually do more things than the Venus flytrap can do. So yes, that should be quite good. I may have to actually chop this up in this little footage into little bits and pieces, but I'm rambling again. But then again, as you've probably heard, things happening in my life sort of thing. A few more flowers. You can see these rosettes. Now they would be quite resplendent now had there not been a bushfire here. They'd be fully opened up. They'd be lovely red colorations in it. You've probably seen some of my photographs in the net from previous seasons and things like that from the past. I didn't have a good camera until about 2008, and a good digital camera, and I only had a VHS camera from Christmas 1990 to 2000. So, but I did do a lot of filming with Donnie, Donovan Perrett. So I've heard he's had to. Apparently, he sold his collection recently. So I don't know. So I might start uploading some of the footage we did together in the early 2000s sort of thing, and some of the ACPS shows and things like that. And yeah, it's not wonderful footage, but it gives you an idea of where we went, when, what we did, what was happening, and things like that. Here's like a bull ant nest here. You can see it with the scattering of the stones and things like that. They changed the colour of the stones between the seasons, between white and darkish colours to regulate the temperature sort of thing. But there's the pylon there. I don't know if you know this, but golf courses and electricity pylons seem to be synonymous with CPs, or good CPs for some reason. Mainly because golf courses usually are put down near quartzite, sandy sites and things like that. And also maybe there's some sort of nitrogen dripping from the electrical static of the wire sort of thing. Especially in the winter time when there's a lot of moisture in the air, you can hear that hum. I think it's 80,000. I think it's 80,000 volts, or is it kilovolts? I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look that up. But it's very high voltage up there, and it's enough to break the nitrogen bond, and you'll get things coming down. Small amounts, but of course over time it builds up. Goes down. You usually find some good Whittakerized under here, and along other power lines and things like that. There were major power lines at Cannington Swamp right down the middle, because Cannington Swamp was a basically a 200 acre block, so it was like 2 blocks of 100 acres, and there was power lines going down the middle, and the power lines were just like in the distance. But then beyond that there was just another what they call 100, another like 100 acre block in the old days, sort of. Yeah, so it was a massive parcel of land, and unfortunately I believe it's been mostly destroyed now. I don't know. It had its RIP in about 1998 into 1999, because my parents went back there and they brought me back some photographs, and yeah, they said on the other side of the road there were bulldozers and things like that. But I might be invited back by the people of Perth to put in a mile marker at the original discovery of the amazing abilities of Drosera glandulifera. They were just like hinted at back then. I mean, it's just, all I noticed was the amazing speed of, you know, well, I didn't actually notice it. It's the fact that I didn't notice this was what I picked up. It just could move faster than the eye could see. And that statement I told my friends at school, and that statement got these 2 scientists to come to my parents' house the following year in 1975, and they just couldn't believe it. There's me with Rickert Ericsson's book, pointing at what they knew is the most common sundew in southern Australia, Drosera glandulifera, and yet there's no Aboriginal stories, you know, no stories about young Aboriginal children noticing or anything like that, and they just couldn't believe it. And apparently on one website I read, because they couldn't get their head around this, they went off and touched a totally different plant, thinking, oh, he can't mean that one, sort of thing. And so I suppose in the next 1,000 years they're probably going to go down as the Laurel and Hardy-of-BOTANY, I think. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, it would have been nice to have got a little segment in the local newspaper. Maybe I would have cut out like 3 years of bullying, because I was a nerd back in the 70s before there was a term for people like myself, you know. So yeah, but hopefully things will look up from now on, and And if they find nerves and muscles in Drosera glandulata, well, I think we all know where the end of the journey will be. So things might start to finally look up for me. I did my work. I was working from I was a working child, basically working from 9 years onward. Just kept going back to the grindstone to try and get the message out, and I kept having bad experiences, things going wrong, people making just assumptions on my behalf, like with the white Polypomphlex acanthus swamp. Oh, he must mean Tenella. I said no, it's 5 centimeters shorter than multifida. So in other words, all those white Polypomphlex used to sit 5 centimeters shorter than the standard multifida at Cannington Swamp, and they used to have a slightly different notching. But it was obviously it was a Polypomphlex, and it was obvious that they all sat at this like 5 centimeter, basically 3/4 of the height of the normal Polypomphlex multifida sort of thing. And yeah, and so far I haven't seen any photographs on the Google image, so hopefully it's still out there somewhere near Cannington Swamp in a little wet patchy area. To get out there, because as I said, I'm willing to trade my right of discovery on Drosera glandulata for this. So in other words, if I raise the rank up of Drosera glandulata to Neurodrosera glandulata, you can then go out and I'll let you have your name on this white Polypomphlex. I think that's fair. I think it's honourable that I can trade my right of discovery from 1974 for that, because if they do find nerves or muscles in Drosera glandulata, I think it does need a raise in its ranking, because it will be unique. It will be not only a unique sundew, it will probably be a unique plant of the world, probably the first plant in the world to have botanical nerves or muscles. As I said to the people, stop thinking that it's going to have nerves or muscles like an animal, because as Charles Darwin said, we all branched off from the tree into different branches, so it's probably going to evolve its own botanical like nerves or muscles. So get out of your mind this idea that it's going to be exactly like an animal nerve or animal fibers and things like that, or animal muscles. Get that out of your head. And this idea that it has to be co-evolution and you're going to get something identical. No, you might not. You might get something similar, but it'll just be something that Mother Nature's come up with. So please go back and look again, because I reckon if my lecturers at Flinders Uni were right, that the basic definition of a nerve is action at a distance. And this definitely has action at a distance, and some of the speeds they're clocking at now are getting down to those sort of animal-like speeds, so it's sort of highly likely. Everything's pointing in the direction, and the idea, the verb of science is ought. So you take what you know in examples and compare them and project them into the future, because A and B, C ought to happen sort of thing. So then you go and look at C and compare A and B sort of thing. That's the scientific method. You build a theory around the facts. You don't try and build the facts around a theory, which is probably what's been going on recently and in the past. So please, just look. What's there is what's there. They're the facts. You build the theory around the facts, not the other way around. Because I was taught this because I did biology, and these things are more likely to happen in biology. So I assume, well, that's the reason, I wouldn't make that mistake, because I was taught, it's more likely to happen, these sort of errors of, trying to build, putting the facts around a theory rather than the right way around. It's more likely to happen in biological fields. So anyway, I think this is a long speech, and I don't know how I'm rambling, but it's a weird time in my life, and there's a lot of crazy stuff has been happening in the last few months, so you probably hear about it. If Ziggy makes a dirty little DVD, a tell-all dirty DVD, you'll probably hear about some of it, but we'll see. Well, here's an example. This is what I was talking about. It was obviously a marijuana type site, as you can see there. So I suspect that either they had some sort of automatic cultivational mechanism going on here. Maybe that caused the fire over there, or someone was looking at this at night time and smoking a cigarette or something and didn't realise how flammable it is even at night time, sort of thing. But anyway, there are benefits and advantages of it. We'll be able to watch these plants over the coming season and in the future years as well. Anyway, that's me over and out. I think I'm rambling again, but it's just my time of my life. I think it's a strange time in my life, but hopefully things will look up and look a lot better when this thing hits on the internet. And I think you'll be I think every mad kid on the block, every nerdy type of kid on the block, when they see the footage go up on YouTube, they'll definitely all want one, and it'll take about 24 to 40 hours for people to sink in that yes, it does more things than the Venus flytrap or Aldrovanda can do. I'm still sworn to secrecy until the end of this month, but I might be able to start divulging things then, unless Ziggy can give me some definite guarantees, like a publication date, some written evidence of a publication date, or a reason for an extension, some graphical pictorial reasons for an extension. Then I'll be quite happy to extend the secrecy date. But otherwise, he might be just playing a game or something, some sort of power game or something. I'm not into those power games. I never have been. I mean, that's probably why I discovered this, because I was had a totally different mentality, There I was for 3 hours at Cannon Swamp saying, oh, this is important. Other people will want to know about this. What can I do? And of course, Edison made a recording. I begged, badgered and cajoled my father to take a photograph. So, and there we go. You've actually got, in 1,000 years' time, there'll probably be some kid banging onto his mum about some picture of me on his wall on the very day of discovery, 1974, at Canton Swamps, saying, probably on one of the moons of Jupiter, probably, or Europa or something like that, or something nice and friendly out there in the universe. I mean, I always think some of these planets should be prison planets. We could just sort of shoot off all the nasty people off out there somewhere. It'll be a much better place down here on Earth. Anyway, over and out.